and stock growth. Financial World is unique strategies you can apply to improve your company's performance and sharpen your competitive edge. Analysis you can profit from. Investment news you can capitalize on. All the vital information you need and won't find anywhere else. To see what Financial World can do for you, call 1-800-858-5800 today. Financial World, for people who make it their business to succeed.
It's amazing how much scrap metal you get from a few cans of beer. Help fight drunk driving. See your Allstate agent.
Lean on me.
There are some people in the world you do not want to depend on. Unfortunately, we lean on other countries for over 40% of the oil that America consumes. But the more we use nuclear energy instead of imported oil to generate our electricity, the less we have to depend on unstable sources.
Somebody to lean on for me.
Joining us now with today's Insiders Report is Robert Metz. Bob.
Thank you, Doug. Well, the Pure Play Cellular stocks have been going through the roof, and why not? The business is terrific. It offers high growth, most of added revenues reach the bottom line, and competition is limited in each market. Morgan Stanley loves cellular but fears the high share prices. The firm's Edward Greenberg says these stocks fell too much in the recession last year, but they've since doubled and are too high now. If you think cellular shares will go a lot higher, you probably believe in mental telegraphy. Greenberg recommends selling shares of most cellular pure plays. He's telling firm clients to bail out of Lynn Broadcasting, Cellular Communications, Contel, U.S. Cellular, and Vanguard. You can hold the other two, he says, McCall Cellular and Metro Mobile. He thinks the stocks can only go up on three conditions: if individual markets are limited to the present two providers, if cellular companies and customers add customers at twice their current rate, and if the average customer's monthly bill is as high in the year 2000 as it is now. But he thinks price cuts and low-use customers will cut revenue per customer 20 to 30% by the year 2000. Separating the street news from the street noise, Robert Metz reporting on Wall Street. Doug.
Bob, thanks very much. In People News today, ever since John Peters became co-chairman of Columbia Pictures Entertainment when it was bought by Sony of Japan, there had been rumors that he wasn't exactly getting along with his Japanese bosses. And today, Columbia made it official, confirming Peters has stepped down to set up his own production company. The move also signals the end of a long-term partnership with Peter Guber, who will continue to run Columbia. But the links aren't entirely being severed. Columbia will have the first right of refusal to back any movies produced by Peters' new company. And Wall Street investment guru George Soros, who made his millions on Wall Street, now he's in trouble over a bottle of wine. An industrial tribunal in London has ordered the Hungarian-born millionaire to settle with his former cook and butler, a married couple who were fired after getting into a dispute with others working in the Soros' London household. The court ruled that the couple were unfairly dismissed and ordered Soros to reach a settlement within 3 months. The butler apparently was fired after feuding with a new cook who laced a stew with an $860 bottle of wine. In our CEO Spotlight today, Sandra Kurtzig, Chairman and CEO of Ask Computer Systems. Ask is in the middle of an aggressive restructuring, part of that restructuring including the return of Kurtzig to the post of CEO after her retirement 6 years ago. FNN's Stephanie Shelton asked Kurtzig to explain what happened.
Well, I left the company in 1985. I thought I was retiring. When I originally started the company, my idea was to have a part-time job and start the company in the second bedroom of my apartment. It grew to be a $100, $200 million company, and I wanted to spend more time with my children. I came back at the board's request in the end of 89, excuse me. I've been back a year, and they asked me to come back because our earnings were under pressure, had slowed down, and they needed someone to help rejuvenate our product development. So I'm back, and part of coming back was the recent acquisition of Ingress Corporation, which is a database and tools vendor.
And are you going to stay back now that you're there?
Well, certainly I'm focused now on building Ask, and I take one step at a time, just like I did when I started building the company, and I look forward to a whole new wave in computing. There's a wave of client-server computing, which is meshing the power of a mainframe, the networking capabilities of a mini computer, and the online user-friendliness of a PC, and I see that as a new wave, and you don't often have a chance to start a company twice in a second wave of computing.
So what exactly are your grow plans then for the 90s?
The grow plans for the 90s? Well, clearly I'd like to see the company grow and reach the next plateau. Right now we're at a run rate of $400 million, which is quite interesting, and take one step at a time and see where we get to.
But you're talking about the networking, which I think everybody is saying is the wave of the computing industry in the 90s. What does that mean to you strategically? Does it mean that you buy additional companies, that you go in additional product lines, or what?
Well, every single piece of application software is going to have to be rewritten in the 1990s to take advantage of the graphical user interface paradigm and the ability to network heterogeneous hardware. And as the hardware becomes more of a commodity, there's a bigger market for software. So I see it as an opportunity to really ride the wave and expand it. And I think we're one of the only companies that are really in a position to take advantage of the client-server heterogeneous hardware connections, and with our core database technology, we're well positioned, and it's very exciting to see where we go from here.
To own a British estate like this, one needn't be wealthy or even British. Simply be the first to find another car with all the standard features of a Sterling for $28,500 or less, and we'll buy you an estate. So look around and drive a Sterling. One way or another, you'll be moved.
Investors, here are some tough questions and some straight answers from Leslie Quick about using a discount broker.
Do your services really match up to those of full commission brokers?
If you make your own investment decisions, I'll match our services with any full commission brokerage house on Wall Street.
In tough times, I want a financially strong broker. Do I compromise on that by going to a discount broker?
No, you don't. Actually, Quick & Riley is a member of the New York Stock Exchange. It's also a listed company on the New York Stock Exchange, and our capital is 5 times the Security Exchange Commission requirement. So we're a financially stable, sound organization.
For answers to your questions, get this free booklet and see the huge commission savings Quick & Riley offers you. Call 800-627-3409. Call today and also get this special dividend study free. 800-627-3409.
Come join us.
Attention investors. Here's a no-risk try-it-for-free offer from Investors Daily you can't afford to pass up. If you call now, we'll send you Investors Daily for 2 weeks absolutely free. And with your free trial subscription, we'll send you a free 1-hour audio cassette guide to Investors Daily, recorded by William O'Neill. Call 1-800-622-3311. That's 1-800-622-3311. Please call now. That number once again is 1-800-622-3311.
More valuable than most, this umbrella. 50% of the Fortune 500 carry it for their insurance and investment needs. Open in case you want quality and service the traveler's way. You're better off under the umbrella.
Are these your drugs?
Look, Dad, it's not
Where did you get it?
Dad,
Answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
Taking a look at global stock markets today, Tokyo finished a quiet, themeless day, moderately lower, the Nikkei average falling more than 32 points. Hong Kong stocks edged higher, spurred by light local buying, the Hang Seng Index gaining more than 6.25 points to close at 3747.8. German shares were pressured by reports of lower profits at a major metals and recycling firm, the 30-share DAX index losing more than 20 points. And British stocks came under pressure after Wall Street and the equity futures market failed to spur any buying. The Financial Times Stock Exchange Index losing more than 17 points. The defense industry's slowdown is not limited to the U.S. British aerospace manufacturer Rolls-Royce is cutting the jobs of an additional 3,000 employees and freezing the pay of all employees for 6 months. Chief Executive Sir Ralph Robbins says that reductions in defense spending and an economic downturn prompted the moves and that more layoffs are likely next year. Since the beginning of the year, Rolls-Royce has eliminated 6,000 jobs, and Robbins says more cuts are likely next year. The cola wars are bubbling up overseas. Pepsi-Cola has complained to the Japanese government, accusing Coke of pressuring TV stations to stop running Pepsi commercials. The spots compare the two soft drinks, a practice that the Japanese advertising community strongly resists. NHK's Sumire Sugimoto reports from Tokyo.
Pepsi-Cola Japan launched this ad in March, but claims Coca-Cola Japan pressured major TV stations to pull it this month. Pepsi alleges Coca-Cola has violated the anti-monopoly law, which prohibits unfair trade practices. It could take up to a year for the FTC to rule on the case. Feelings. When it first appeared, MC Hammer's rendition of Feelings did not ruffle Coke's feelings about sales.
We believe the Pepsi ad won't affect our market share in Japan at all.
But now, Coca-Cola calls the ad disparaging and Pepsi's use of its trademark unauthorized. The commercial has run without problem in America, where comparative ads are common, but here it broke new ground. Advertising executives say, in general, comparative ads are considered impolite.
To make yourself look better by insulting other competitors is not an acceptable Japanese characteristic.
Companies may be competing fiercely behind the scenes, but they prefer to be seen as friendly in public.
Another reason behind the lack of such ads has to do with business.
The same advertising agency deals with more than 2 companies in the same industry. I guess that's probably why they dislike comparative ads.
Advertising insiders don't expect an onslaught of comparative ads, and they say any further comparative ads will more likely come from foreign companies. Sumire Sugimoto, Tokyo.
And when Market Wrap continues, today's Money Talk report. Stay with us.
You heard about Laura and Steve? Divorce? Worse, they moved. Bad? How about the van showing up a day late? Depressing. Or finding your crystal vase in 3 pieces? No.
They should have called United Van Lines. United moved us from London to Minneapolis. Piece of cake. Only thing they didn't do was cook dinner.
I hear you.
But neither did I.
No surprises, no loose ends. No wonder people recommend United more than any mover in America. United Van Lines. We're #1 for a reason.
More reliable than most, this umbrella. For it comes from our agents and 35,000 employees dedicated to customer service. Open in case you want insurance and investment expertise the traveler's way. You're better off under the umbrella.
At General Rent-A-Car, you can rent any Chrysler car for only $19.91 first day. And every car comes with free, unlimited mileage. General Rent-A-Car. Unlimited mileage now comes with unlimited choice.
Along with the Glaciers, a string quartet. There are Eagles and old world antiques. Midnight Sun, Rosenthal China, the finest service, and the spouting of whales. Surely there is no land on Earth more magnificent and wild than Alaska, and no way more civilized to see it than aboard the ships of Holland America, the world's best cruise line.
It's going to be a very interesting exercise for the next 3 months. If anybody likes a fall vacation, don't.
The public really comes in and they really respond, and then you get your report card on the night of the sale.
Advertising in the 60s was rockin'.
Go behind the scenes with the Power Brokers on Power Profiles.
Power Profiles, weeknights, 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
Money Talk is brought to you by Holland America Line, voted the world's best cruise line by the readers of Condé Nast Traveler magazine.
In our Money Talk segment today, Blue Cross Blue Shield has always been considered safe from financial trouble, but as Eric Schoenberg of Money Magazine reports, even Blue Cross isn't impervious to the rising cost of health care.
Some weaknesses are starting to show in the Blue Cross Blue Shield health coverage system. Last year, the Confederation's West Virginia branch collapsed, leaving behind $53 million in unpaid medical bills. That's the first major trouble spot in the system's history, but it might not be the last. 8 Blue plans in the Northeast have huge deficits or less cash in their coffers than their states require. All of them could face insolvency within a year. What went wrong? The short answer is rising healthcare costs, plus the fact that many Blues are required to serve the most expensive customers, those who can't get coverage elsewhere. So, should you bail out? Most experts say no. Unless you're under 40 and in perfect health, Blue coverage is likely to be cheaper and more complete than you'll get from other providers. And even if your Blue fails, you might not be hard hit. A quarter of Blue customers work for self-insured firms who only use the Blues to process claims. If you're not one of them, you might have to go uninsured temporarily if your Blue collapses, and may be forced to settle unpaid bills. But many employers and state governments have promised that that won't be allowed to happen. I'm Eric Schurenberg of Money Magazine.
Now let's take one final look at the business headlines today. There was strong demand from investors at the U.S. Treasury's auction of nearly $12 billion in 10-year notes today. The average yield pegged at 8.07%, better than many money market economists had been predicting. The stock market reacted positively to that strong demand. The Dow Industrials finishing the session up almost 13.5 points. The presidents of 3 Federal Reserve banks testified before our House Banking Subcommittee today, arguing that the credit crunch may finally be easing, especially with the growth of non-bank lending. And in corporate news, Woolworths was the first big retailer to report its first quarter earnings. They were down 53% to just $13 million. Looking ahead to tomorrow, Sears Roebuck will hold its annual shareholder meeting in Chicago with investor Robert Monks attempting to win control of a seat on the board of directors despite opposition from Sears management. Sears and other major chain stores report on their sales at the cash register for the month of April. The U.S. Treasury completes its quarterly refunding with a sale of $11.75 billion worth of 30-year bonds. The Labor Department reports on unemployment insurance claims for the week ended April 27th. And also tomorrow on Market Wrap, fashion designers fight the slump in the retail industry by opening up their showrooms to sample sales. And that's it for this edition of Market Wrap. I'm Doug Ramsey in New York. For all of us at the Financial News Network, thanks for watching. Have a good evening, and please join us again tomorrow.
Attention investors. Here's a no-risk try-it-for-free offer from Investors Daily you can't afford to pass up. If you call now, we'll send you Investors Daily